This whole video is just going to be us making ourselves feel old. Because we look at the age, the year that these movies come out, and we're just like, are you kidding me?
Hi guys!
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
Very inclusive.
Yeah,
Good
trying
night.
to be.
Good night, bye. So today we thought we would share with you some of our favourite, I don't want to say kids movies.
Films. Movies from our childhood.
That's a good way of saying it.
Yes. It's a very extensive list.
It is huge.
Some of them, it's a mix between like what we've both seen, what one of us has seen and the other hasn't, kind of thing. So we'll try and should we cover all the ones that we've both seen?
Yeah.
And we can both be like, these are good, go watch them if you haven't watched them. From looking at the list, I can say that they're all quite well-known films.
Pretty much.
There aren't really kind of outlandish ones. But it depends where you are in the world, I suppose. What's at the very top of our list?
Oh, there's one of mine that you haven't seen on the top of the list. Okay, so one that we've definitely got on there that we've definitely both seen is the Disney 1997 classic, Hercules. It is my favourite Disney movie. My favourite Disney movie.
Which we have mentioned in the first ever YouTube video we posted, where I got my favourite movie wrong.
Yeah. It's just a brilliant movie. I can't sell it enough. I just love it. Absolutely love it.
The next one on the list is quite a recent movie. It came out last year that we have both seen. And we both loved it. I got it for Christmas because I hadn't seen it, and my parents got it for me on DVD for Christmas because I just really wanted to see it, and then I fell in love with it instantly. It's one of those kids' movies that is aimed, it's like a family film, but if you're older, you'll get more from it than, like, a lot of kids have kind of watched it and enjoyed it, but not really got it. It's called Inside Out. So it's a 2015 film, Inside Out, which kind of gives you an insight to kind of the workings of the human brain.
In a very stylized,
very creative kind of imaginings of what goes on up in our heads.
We'll try that again.
No, it's just so beautiful, and it's Disney Pixar, so what is there not to love? Yeah, I really liked it. I'm also very keen on the next film though.
I haven't really seen it.
You haven't seen it?
Well, I have. I think I have, but I wasn't paying enough attention to it. I've only seen snippets.
Because this movie came out in, gosh, when was it, 92? 94. Gosh, I guess older. It's younger than I thought it was. Okay. I probably watched it when I was about 4 or 5, so late 90s. And it's just kind of stuck with me my entire life. So they, like, films, more recent films that have come out that are a similar kind of style. I also watch, even though they're really, really rubbish. So the movie's Free Willy, and it had a couple of sequels, but they're not really worth watching. I mean, the second one's good as well, but it's like, it's rehashing the first movie, really, just with a slightly different plot. And it's so good. I really like it, because, like, it's freeing whales from captivity, and it's, like, dealing with, like, he's not even a teenager in it, he's just a young person, he's like a 10-year-old dealing with, like, family angst and issues with, like, being in care and, like, foster kids in care, very specifically in North America and the USA. I don't think it would be the same anywhere else.
Next one down is another Disney classic, part of the Disney Renaissance, Mulan. Doesn't love a bit of Mulan. Following the story of Fa Mulan, she goes off to fight the war on her father's behalf. She gets accompanied by Mushu, the dragon, and Lucky Cricket. It's just, she goes off to save China. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen the movie and that spoiled it for you, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful, sort of empowering story for everybody, really.
And it's based on a true story.
Based on a true story.
It's one of those random Disney movies that's actually based on a true story.
So the next movie is definitely one of my faves. I used to have it on video when I was younger.
VHS, guys.
VHS.
Throwback. Pretty sure, like, it looks like it's going faster than it does when you're watching it, but I'm pretty sure it takes exactly the same length of the film to rewind a VHS tape. Maybe 3/4 of the length of the film.
Just because you're impatient. One of my favourite films, and I do have it with me at uni because I'm sad, and it is Chicken Run, which was, I think, 2001, something like that. So it's based on The Great Escape. They watched a lot of escape movies, prison escape movies, to make this this film, and it's a Nick Aardman, not Nick Park, Nick Aardman. It's an Aardman production, so it's a lot like Wallace and Gromit, if you've ever seen Wallace and Gromit. And it's basically a bunch of hens stuck in a battery farm sort of thing, ordered over by the evil Mrs. Tweedy. And then they have a visitor sort of fly in called Rocky, who's an American cockerel rooster. And it's all about their escape into the wild so that they can be free chickens. And it's just a laugh. It's one of the perfect things of British comedy, and it's got a lot of
it's got big names in it.
It's got a lot of big names in it, but I can't for the life of me remember them off the top of my head.
It's full of references and certain jokes that are just a little bit darker than you might at first glance realise.
I mean, one of the chickens gets made into a pie.
Yeah.
In the film.
I mean, the actual film is pretty dark because it is all about chickens being made into a pie.
But it's an excellent film, and I really do recommend it if you haven't seen it.
Excellent.
Oh my god. I feel shame on my behalf and on your behalf.
I feel no shame.
I know you feel no shame.
The next one's kind of it's Treasure Island in space. So that just gives it away. It's Treasure Planet. It is a what year?
It is
2002 Disney animation of the gosh, it must have been 19th century book, wasn't it? Called Treasure Island. Something like that. Don't fact check us. It was year 9 that I studied that book.
The next one on our list is Maleficent. So that's quite a new film. I think it's 2014.
Yeah.
Very recent, and it's a different take on the story of Sleeping Beauty. So obviously Disney have done Sleeping Beauty before.
It's a bit like Wicked was to Wizard of Oz as to Maleficent is to Sleeping Beauty.
Yes, it's a very good comparison.
Thank you.
It's beautifully shot. I mean, it's a lot of it is CGI and everything like that, but it is really beautifully done, and Angelina Jolie in it is actually very good, and I'm not always a fan of her, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it was a really interesting take on the tale as well, and I thought it was very good. So our next movie is a classic, Space Jam. What more needs to be said, really? It's a mashup with Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny. You think about it for a split second and you're like, no, how high were these producers and directors? I mean, it's a mix of animated characters and a real-life basketball player who then have to fight aliens who want to invade the land where Bugs Bunny lives. Basketball in space, what more do you need from a movie? Just the most out there, but also so funny. And
it's also very of its time though, because there was quite a few movies out there that kept trying to merge cartoons and live action. Usually it doesn't really work. Space Jam was it's a terrible film, but it's also very good. It's one of those films that is just so cheesy, it's good.
That is very true. One of the most emotional films, but also one of the best films of my childhood was The Iron Giant. It's just, it's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. It's really heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those films that I think you just have to watch. Or read a book. It is a book first.
Yeah, but isn't that? Because I'm just trying to think of where he comes from, the Iron Giant, but he comes from space, isn't he? He's in a meteor.
Yeah.
It's basically about this kid who's is a single parent household, only child, and he kind of makes his own kind of adventures, and it's a small town, and he kind of knows everybody, and you kind of get the backstory of him being a bit of a troublemaker, of like finding animals and taking care of them, and then like he sees something like a meteor fall from the sky and crash in the forest. Gosh, it's a bit like How to Train Your Dragon, except he doesn't shoot down the iron giant.
Yeah.
But like he goes off into the forest to look for whatever crash landed, and he finds this giant metal humanoid creature.
Next on our list is Atlantis.
The Lost City, I think is the full title, or The Lost something.
I think it's The Lost City or The Lost Empire.
Lost Empire. Oh, it's just such a classic. It's another Disney classic.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's a very underrated Disney
Very
classic.
underrated Disney
Incredibly
classic.
underrated. You follow the story of Milo Thatch, who discovers, he's a linguist, and he discovers that they've been looking for Atlantis in the wrong place. So he goes off to try and find Atlantis with this little motley crew that he's got going on, full of
brilliant characters. Oh my god, it was
weird
actually
and wonderful characters.
But
finds the lost city of Atlantis.
Yeah.
And
meets the princess,
does
saves the city. There's a sequel if you're in, if you want to watch the sequel, Milo's Return, when he goes back. Saves it again. Spoiler alert. I mean, what else is going to happen?
How dare you spoil that movie for me? I was expecting a heart-wrenching, sad story.
Romantic comedy, just it.
Yeah.
The whole thing. No plot, just rom-com.
Very different, and it's got quite a different style of like animation. It's almost believable.
Yeah.
I think that's what I really like about it, is you could believe that something like that would happen. It's
quite very, very realistic characters.
Yeah, like Milo coming from his world is a very sort of steampunky sort of world with like the ships and things that they go down in. It's that sort of style, and then once you get to Atlantis, it's very,
very almost kind of, actually it's kind of like ancient Central American kind of Aztec kind of style.
Very Aztec-y, mixed with a little bit of Tron.
A little bit light up things.
Very good. It's very climactic at the end when you're sat at the edge of your seat. Like,
yeah, it's actually
what's gonna happen?
It's very good narrative. Like, you don't get it very often in animation films that you can kind of say is good all round.
That is definitely a good all round.
I haven't looked it up, but I would not be surprised if it actually won an award, an Academy Award, without us even noticing.
It won the Motion Picture Sound Editors Best Sound Editing for an animated feature film.
Should have won an
award,
guys.
As I said, it is one of the most underappreciated movies. I'm gonna go get out my chicken pieces.
Oh yeah, those were in there. What about those? I might just carry on by myself then.
So this is me realising that we don't have an ending for this video, so look out for part 2, should be coming soon.